Maybe those of you who watched my latest Friday stream were waiting in anticipation to see this game in commentary form. Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today I present to you a game in the Arena mode, potentially my best arena game of all time, and a bit of an unusual one. You can see that the matchmaker has, lost its mind. There are 4 teams in Arena, of course, and there's supposed to be 3 ships on each team. But in this case, there's only 1 ship per team, so it's a 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. It's me in the Tier 6 Premium German Light Cruiser Munchen versus 2 Fijis and a Miyoko. And seriously, this is probably the best game I've ever played in Arena. Right now at the start, we're picking up these repair replenishment buff things that are scattered across the map, and they give you a passive always-on heal that slowly repairs any damage you take, including things like citadel damage and torpedo damage and all that kind of stuff. So they're great if you pick them up, stack them on top of each other, which you can do. I think we're going to stack 2 on top of each other right here. They're great if you need to disengage from a fight and return with more health. But they're also great for shooting at enemy ships in certain cases, because if they continue to regain hit points they lose, well, then there's more hit points for you to take, and it can massively inflate your damage total. In fact, we're going to end this game with 90,000 more damage done than the total hit points pools of all 3 of our opponents added up. And that, in part, has to do with the fact that the Fijis have heals, and also the fact that these other cruisers have picked up these repair party buffs. Now we see our first opponent, this Fiji, behind the rock. We're going to put torpedoes right on the indicator, and probably we should be running sonar, but we didn't really need it. We're able to miss the Fiji's torpedoes as they come in there, and this Fiji makes the inexplicable move of deciding to slow down, turn flat broadside in front of me, and stop right in front of my torpedoes. Perhaps not the most advisable move. He goes down for the first kill of the game. First blood medal goes to us, as well as a devastating strike. And we've done 34,000 damage done, but we've still got a lot left to do. Now, I wouldn't rate myself as a Unicum player, Unicum player would be somebody like Chili Games 17 or JC Gameplay. 2 names which I'm sure you're familiar with. I would characterize myself as a very good player, verging on great sometimes. In fact, great is how the website wowsbuilds.com rates me. They have a rating system that one of our community contributors created, or I think a number of people are responsible for creating it on that website, wowsbuilds.com. Go there, plug in your stats, and figure out if you are a poor player, an average player, a good player, a very good player, a great player, or a super unicum. WowsBuild says I am great. And it's games like this, honestly, in Arena, where you're facing off against a limited number of ships, and the battle really comes down to who knows the game well enough and can perform the right moves. It's games like this that really make you feel like a super unicum. So right now we're sitting in the cap. We always want to put pressure on this cap when we're in this arena mode, particularly when we have so few enemy ships to face off against. If we're able to take the cap, then of course we win the arena battle. If not, then, at least we are in a place where the enemy ships know where to find us. Now this Miyoko out there, he had been fighting the enemy Fiji, but that enemy Fiji smoked up, so now it's me versus him. I'm peppering him with the AP as he gives me some broadside, and that Fiji is still shooting at the Miyoko from inside the smoke screen. The Miyoko has not, as of this point, responded to me with shells of his own, but it does look like his guns might be turning in this direction. I can't tell. He is quite far away. Perhaps he needs to apply some WD-40 to those turrets. Meanwhile, we've capped half of this circle with no response whatsoever from these enemies, and at this point, you might start to think, well, if this guy doesn't shoot, you're going to win on capping. But finally, he shoots at us. I think that is due to his turret traverse, honestly. And if you are playing the Japanese cruisers or many heavy cruisers, you do want to take a look at that turret traverse, and you do want to buff it if possible. Turret traverse is a very important statistic on cruisers, battleships, even some destroyers. If you can't get your guns on target quick enough, then you can't do damage to that target. And we were able to take away roughly half of those hit points from the Miyoko in the time it took him to turn his turrets around to face us. Now that Fiji is coming in hot on the Miyoko's heels. Don't know if he knew we were here, but I think he spotted us now since he turns to angle our way. We were reset, of course, so the capture progress has gone back down quite low, and at this point we're not even thinking about capping. Right now we want to kill these ships. Notice that the Fiji was going to turn broadside, probably to launch his torpedoes, which we just broke, so got the AP loaded and no citadels this time, 4 over penetrations instead, which is unfortunate. But we're going to go to try to cut that Fiji off around the corner of this rock and also turn toward the Miyoko, or at least the direction in which the Miyoko was sailing off in. He's going to lick his wounds and come back to fight another day, thanks to those repair buffs that I'm sure he picked up at the beginning of the match. Any second now, the Fiji should be appearing from behind this rock. We've got torpedoes on the way in case he decides to turn in toward us, but he decides to turn away, which is fine. And you can see, I think when he went behind that rock, he had lost some hit points, but when he came out from the other side, he was on full health. That's fine, just more damage for us to inflict on him. And you can see even when he's angled like this, and he is angled somewhat, we are still able to get some full penetrations on him, as well as some overpens and some shatters. But we do need to be careful now. We need to turn away a lot faster than we are doing at this point. His AP is no joke either. It's got those improved penetration angles, and I think he potentially might have citadeled us at least once there. Also taking some high explosive fire from that Miyoko, but thanks to the island behind us, the Fiji can no longer shoot at us. And what we want to do right now is disengage. Our concealment is fairly good. We're outside the concealment range. We were able to go dark momentarily, but the Miyoko was coming toward us, so he was able to pick us up in his sights again. Gonna keep our bow pointed at that Miyoko as he fires high explosive and try to get some maneuvering done here. Turning to the left, or to port if you want to use naval terms, cognizant of the fact that that island is still behind us, separating us from the Fiji so that the Fiji can no longer shoot at us. It's always an important thing in situations like this where you're fighting multiple enemy ships. If you can make it a 1 versus 1, you should make it a 1 versus 1 at every opportunity you have, and that is what we're doing. Should have probably switched to the armor piercing quite a while ago, but we failed to do so. Now that we're close to the Miyoko, though, within 6 kilometers, we should be able to start scoring citadel hits. And we're going to need those if we want to take this guy out. There's one. This hopefully will be a second. Yes, there's 2 citadels, and hopefully we can finish him off here as long as he continues to give broadside. There he goes. He switched to AP, but it was too little too late. On 2,000 hit points right now with a fire burning, but as you can see, the fire really isn't capable of doing any damage to us with the double repair party buff we have stacked on our ship. We're up to 143,000 damage now, though, and 2 kills. It's just unfortunate that there are not 5 teams on Arena. Maybe 5 teams of 2 ships would be nice, because if there were, then at this point we would be facing 4 enemies, and we would have finished this game with a solo warrior. But I think maybe we can give ourselves an honorary solo warrior at the end of this, because of the fight we had to put up. Note, we are on 7,000 hit points and counting up right now, versus a Fiji, which has something like 30,000 hit points and is on full health. He's been hiding long enough to have regained full health, and it is going to be a fight to the death. Keep in mind, once again, I am starting this with a massive hit points disadvantage. Luckily, the Fiji does not have access to high explosive like I do. So he needs to hit my superstructure in order to really do any damage to me, or he needs to hit the side of my ship if it's not angled. But, you know, it is angled. He is still able to punch through, get some, what I assume are over-penetrating, damaging hits there. But we're able to chunk away at him with our high explosive until he decides to give us enough broadside that we feel comfortable switching to armor piercing. And of course, when we do, we get the odd shatter there, and we get 3 over penetrations there. A little bit ridiculous, I think, that light caliber guns like this are over penetrating the broadside of a Fiji. I mean, he really has no armor, so I'm not sure what I expected, but I didn't expect them to be over-penetrating so much. The Munchen, though, what can I say about it as we fire at that Fiji? It's a DPM monster. A great choice for the arena mode, as I've found out here. And also a great choice for random battles as well. It's like a German version of the Cleveland, tier lower, a very fast rate of fire. Less guns than the Cleveland, but more base penetration with its high explosive shells, since it is German and enjoys the quarter penetration, and of course that excellent AP that you saw put to good effect against the Miyoko. The Fiji now, though, for some reason, has smoked up. He's inside of the cap. There's less than 2 minutes left to go in this game, and at this point I'm playing for the win. I do not want this Fiji to survive, and I do not want a draw either, but in order to make it so that the Fiji does not survive and that this game ends in my victory rather than a draw, I'm going to have to kill the Fiji, which at this point is probably once again at full health. Now, we're at 165,000 damage. Less than 90 seconds left to go in this game, and in order to make this a win and not a draw, we are going to have to remove approximately 30,000 hit points from this Fiji in, at this point, probably less than 60 seconds. So can we do it? That is the question. Well, certainly the Fiji is not making it hard for us. You can sit inside your smokescreen and think you're safe all you want, but in a 1 versus 1 situation like this, when the enemy is perfectly capable of coming right up to your smokescreen, maybe don't sit broadside in it. There goes the Fiji. We end this game with 92,000 damage done. Epic 1v1v1v1, and we come out on top by good use of angling and good use of shell selection, I guess, switching between armor piercing and high explosive when the situation called for it. So I certainly enjoyed playing this game and getting 8,875 XP with 192,000 damage. I certainly hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.